Okay, so we are ready now. Making some final adjustments here. Okay, so we are ready now. Making some final adjustments. With Logos 9, there are several changes from Logos 8. I'm going to cover a few of them and some of the more, I guess, popular, important ones you may say, and perhaps ones that I like the most. So let's get started. We're looking at the home page. By the way, I should also make mention of the fact that I'm using the beta. And so if you notice on the home page, you have your icon up here as usual. And then you have the home button, your library. And this new icon here, Factbook, is something that is still in beta testing. So if you're interested, you can get this here. But here we have Factbook. And another thing that you will notice, this is what they call a little Easter egg. Instead of having the bar at the top here, cluttered with a lot of resources, etc., I've dragged them and brought them here and created one. But let's get started. So the first thing I want to do, and I'll use it as I have it set up, I'm going to go here and open a Bible. So let's use the Lexham English Bible, which is free and everyone has. I'll bring this over here. You will notice that certain words are underlined with a blue dashed underline. Wherever you see that in Logos, it's an indicator that that is an entry in Factbook. And so when I put my mouse over it, you will notice it has musician, any person who performs music. When clicking this line here, it opens Factbook to the item. And Factbook is now improved from Logos 8. They've greatly expanded what information is pulled up in Factbook. So here you have your key article loaded from a Bible dictionary, your media, if there's anything in your library that relates to musician. And here in this case, you have songs of joy, lyrics, and of course, when selecting these, it will automatically open to the relevant document. And then your key passages for this particular item in Factbook. So if I were to save as a passage list, which is something that is possible, open to passages in New King James Version, I can do that. And the New King James Version is my default Bible, or default Bible rather. So that is something. If I open here, save rather, sorry. Let's make this a little smaller. And it will save these two passages here. I'm now going to close that. Then you have referred to as. You have your Hebrew word here. And of course, putting the mouse over it, it will pull up a word study in part. You have Aramaic and you have your Greek, Ketharodos. So I'm going to have Logos pronounce the word.
Ketharodos.
There you go. If I select the Greek lemma, opens Factbook to the item, and I can then get more information on it. So let's close that there. Let's look at another one. This here says, the hand of a Lord, biblical thing. You are flute players. I'm going to close that. And let's try another word. Heavens. So it opens the item to sky, geographical objects and features. And here again, you have your Hebrew words, what is referred to, your Greek, Aramaic, events. God creates the heavens and the earth. Putting the mouse over the Bible text will give you a preview of the text. Of course, if you select the text, it will pull it up. Another way of using Factbook would be by simply opening it from, in this case, it's in shortcuts, but go into tools. And you will notice at the top here, you have Sermon Manager, Atlas, Canvas, Factbook. So I would select it from here. And now I'm going to type in a word. And this time, let's choose Paul. And notice it gives you a drop down. See, are you looking for the Apostle, Paul the Apostle, Sung Han Paul Yang, an individual, the boat of Paul, cities Paul went, Gaius baptized by Paul, places Paul went, and depending on which you choose will determine what comes up. So let's look at cities Paul went. What Logos has done is gone through my library very quickly and pulled up all of the information on Paul. And so now when I come here, referred to as city, Greek word polis, of course I can get a polis, okay, pronunciation here. So let's try Paul the Apostle. And this is the reason for that index. Logos builds a very large index when you first set it up so that it knows where every word is in your entire library. In my case, my library is about 16,986, including personal books and everything that's there. And so it knows where to find this information and can pull it up very quickly. So I'm going to minimize the referred to section. Looking at events, you select some call it a chevron. And it's doing some research on the library, pulling up the information. And if you're looking for an excuse to get a new computer, this is one. Logos recommends at least 16 gigs of RAM, a separate graphics card, along with the newer hard drive, NVMe. It's very fast, looks like a memory stick. So here we go, the early church. It can pull up information. If I click here, it gives me information on the life of Paul from his writings and some of the things that he did that happened to him or events that he was involved in. Paul converts on the road to Damascus. So they're all talking about the author Paul. When it comes to works, you have no results in there. Have not explored that one. Dictionaries. Your highest prioritized dictionary is the one that it will look in first. So I have the Seventh Adventist Dictionary as the highest prioritized dictionary. When I put my mouse over the word, it pulls up the article, selecting it, article on the life of Paul. Same thing with Anchor Yale Bible Dictionary. And you can continue on doing that. I select journals. And here we have various journals, American Journal of Theology for results, Ashland, etc., etc. Once again, I put the mouse over it and you get a little pop-up so you can see whether you want to actually go through with selecting that particular journal if there's something that you're really interested in. And then you have personal letters and books from your library. So here it's talking about Christian History Magazine, the Apostle Paul and his times. So once again, as I said, you can get a pull-up from it. And this article here is coming from the Homilies on Galatians, Commentary on the Epistle of St. Paul to the Galatians from the Church Fathers. And you have it here. And so this is a quick overview as to what Logos 9 does. Books from your library, Paul and Jesus. So the larger your library, the better fact book will work. And the more diverse your library, the better fact book will actually work. Let's go now to another new feature. And this time I want to go to guides, not taking this in any particular order. A new feature that is in Logos 9 is the counseling guide. So it remembers the last word that I typed in. I can hit enter, or I can select the arrow to the right. And Logos is giving you some basic books to get you started. And so the quick reference guide to addictions and recovery counseling says 40 topics. Biblical counseling keys to anger. And if I select this here, it will open that particular resource to it. Keys to conflict resolutions. And you have several more. These are all that I have in my library that have been tagged for the counseling guide. You have your passages, related counseling topics. So anger, well, what about conflict, rebellion? What they're saying basically is that they're all related. And these are, as I indicated, your counseling topics. Another new feature that we're also looking at is in the passage guide. And I'll leave Exodus 20 verse 12 there. Remember, as I said, you can select the arrow or you can press enter on your keyboard. So when I select the arrow and I place my mouse over the passage, it gives me a preview of what's inside that particular resource. If I place the mouse over the book title, I'm getting the same thing here. Over here, nothing. So now I can expand that, but I don't really need to because it's already showing me a pop-up as to what is included in that resource. And of course, your highest prioritized commentary is what you will see first. Apparently, I had prioritized Andrew Study Bible Notes over the Seventh-day Adventist Bible Commentary. So that's your passage guide, Bible word study. I use prayer. So here you have earnestly, you have prayer, praise, one Greek word here, another Greek word here that's translated prayer in the New King James Version is desis. You have prosukomai, I pronounced that correctly, UK. So these are all different words that are translated by our English word prayer. And when you come over here, it shows you how many times it's mentioned in the various books of the Bible. So Acts is mentioned 9 times. Revelation is mentioned 3 times. Of course, you can add your note. And that was Greek. Here you have the Hebrew, same thing for Hebrew. But then again, what topics come out of prayer? Well, when we look at it, you have under the same Bible word study guide, you can look up the topic of prayer. And so when I select this here, it opens the New Living Translation on the word prayer. The Psalms. No, this is a new feature that I've not seen before. Okay, Psalm 40, verse 13. And these are all with the Okay. Apparently, New Living Translation has something in the back. Let's go in there and see what we have. Okay, not familiar with this. Just started using it, Bible Verse Finder. So Logos quickly pulled it up and displayed it. So again, I can go into my dictionaries and pull up an article on the subject. So all of this is just from the Bible Word Study on prayer. Textual searches, phrases, topic guide, tabernacle. So these are like spin-offs, I call them, from something that is already set in here. Let's go back into guide. You have your theology guide. And here you have at the bottom, the pop-up which explains what it's all about. So we're going to take that out and let's put in a word such as tabernacle. Let's see. Not getting anything there. Let's try God. God the Father. Do you want God the Son? And this is coming from Logos Systematic Theology, if memory serves me correctly. So here I put in God the Son and pulls up key passages on God the Son that you can then go through. Recommended reading. They suggest several volumes that you may want to read on the topic of God the Son. And this one here, which is not in my library, but I am getting, okay. No, this one is not in my library. This one is. So we come down and we look at systematic theologies. Jesus Christ is recognized as God. Strong's systematic theology. And Strong seems to be the dominant one here. I click search all systematic theologies, and it pulls up everything in my library that I have on the topic of God. So Institutes of Christian Religion, systematic theology. I put my mouse over it, of course. I get Hodges, Strong's, Augustus Strong's, Augustus Hopkins. Okay, there we go. Now, what I'm looking for is a book on theology written by Seventh-day Adventists. I know I have one. I don't know if it's because it's not prioritized high in the library. That's a possibility. But that covers pretty much systematic theologies there. And of course, it looks in your personal books to see what you have. When I remember the name, I'll go back and try another search. So here you have your guides. We're still looking at guides, exegetical guide. By the way, I prefer to add exegetical guide into the passage guide. So I have it word by word, since that's the major thing that I'm interested in. So I'm going to change this to Luke 4, verse 8. So here again with the exegetical guide, it looks at your preferred Bible, which in this case is New King James Version. Gives you the reverse interlinear. This is New King James Version over here. Reverse interlinear over here. And then we have BDAG. And you can look at word for word. So you want to know this word here. You put your mouse over in the Greek, it highlights in English. Put it in highlighted in English, and it's highlighted in Greek also. So I'm interested in the word God. When I select God, Logos jumps to that section there, which is at down here, to give me information on the word God. Again, I can let Logos pronounce it, theos. It's a noun, and putting the mouse over these words, you will see. The key here is anything that is highlighted in blue with Logos is clickable and sometimes interchangeable. So whenever you see a word highlighted in blue, you put your mouse over it and you will get more information. So what is the masculine? One of the three grammatical genders in Greek and Latin, the others being feminine and neuter. I select it and it opens the book over here, Glossary of Morphosyntactic Database Terminology. And this is one of the works put out by Lexham Press, as you can see. And so what I had pulled up earlier, here it is here. And so rather than having exegetical and passage guide do something separately, I prefer to just build them all in one passage guide, but that is just my preference. Everyone does things differently. Now, if it's too fine, you select these three vertical dots here. I can adjust the size of the text, and it happens in real time. So let's leave it a little larger here. You will also know I can link this. So if I wanted to, I could link set A, and I come back in here at passage guide and link set A. And the passage now changes with the exegetical guide. So if I were to drag my exegetical guide over here, whatever is done here will also happen here. So when I type in 12, you see the difference? It pulls it up here. And so here you have the passage guide on John 1:12, exegetical guide does the same thing. I could also choose to link my Bible in this case, which I will do. And it changes. If I had a commentary open, and I link that also. And so they will all move together. So when I'm working and I were to go here and I type Revelation 5 verse 6, they all move together. And that's the beauty of linking them. Of course, this is where you want a very fast computer, because it now has to go through your library, even though it's indexed, and pull all of this information, quickly bring it together. A good graphics card also helps. Your topic guide. This is different from Factbook. Okay, I thought I'd ready a theology guide. So here's topic guide, and here's the difference. I type God. Let's go back to Factbook, and I will type God. And let's see what's the difference. Factbook will give you more information here. When we look at topic guide, we will see biblical events, biblical people, places, sermons, etc., etc. Factbook tends to go, I guess, more in depth. This one has more sections. So far, you're not able to add to it, but I think that is something that they're looking at putting into the future. Since topic guide is a more mature product, some persons may choose to use topic guide as opposed to Factbook. It's all up to you. You have journals in both of them. This one has personal letters, interactives, etc. So it all depends on what you're seeking to do. Basic Bible study, something I seldom use, I must say. Now you'll notice I made that get larger by holding Control and the plus sign right? You have on the keypad 890 minus plus. You hold the plus sign, which is above equal, and you can make it larger. For those of you working with a full keyboard, the plus sign does not, on the number pad, does not work, nor the minus sign on the number pad. That's just the way they have designed the software. So basic Bible study, it helps you work through a passage. So if I type in John chapter 1, verse 1, you will notice that I put John 1.1. I could have put John colon 1, and they will all mean the same thing. Logos understands what I mean. So here you have, it tells you to read the passage, highlighting, use the highlighting tool to mark any words or ideas that draw your attention. You could highlight things you want to look up later, key phrases or sentences that seem important. So you read the passage here. What questions or insights do you have about this passage? And it takes you step by step. You can skip and then go on, or you can fill it in and then hit continue. And so let's just put something in here and we hit continue and it goes to the next one. Read the passage in other translations. So if I was to select this here, it opens a comparison tool where I can now see my passage in several versions. And since I already have it set up here, which versions I want in this, it knows what to look for. You change the versions. Let's see. Vertical, horizontal layout, vertical layout, automatic layout. Okay, here we go. I can tell it to find New Readers International. I'm looking for something, but I don't remember the abbreviation for it, but either case, here I could have added New Revised Standard Version. That's a possibility. But I'll take that out and it will add it to it. So I can say show verses, I can ask it to show the interlinear. And here we go. Haven't played around too much with this one, so let's go back to verses. Another tool, we have Faith Life Assistant. It is not quite the true artificial intelligence, but it has some benefits. So let's try it and see what we get. I'm going to choose the microphone. Who is the strongest man in the Bible? And because I'm using, who is the strongest man in the Bible?
Sorry, I don't know the strongest man in the Bible.
It works better if you added something like, open John chapter 6, verse 8. Open John chapter 6, verse 8.
Okay.
So it will do some of that. So if someone has some challenges with typing or just likes to use voice command, you may want to play around with that. Also, no, I was in tools, yes. Information panel. When I put my mouse over a word, I can choose to hover or I can choose to select. In this case, I have it set. So here I click the word Jesus. It will highlight Jesus everywhere else on the page. The word. And it gives me some information on it. Article from my preferred Bible dictionary, Greek lexicon, Theological Dictionary of the New Testament, giving me definitions, translation. Sometimes they're looking at the pronoun here, Jesus. I can pull up a Preview, pull up a Bible word study. Literary typing. Gospel narrative, narrative miracle, because it opened to John. Other references. Figure of speech, accent, name. Some of these I'm not even familiar with, but it's dealing with some advanced features of Greek. The supernatural being, location Israel, name Jesus, type deity, count. So it's quite extensive in terms of the information that you can get. Looking at the footnotes for the passage, highlights, nothing there, community tags, preaching themes from the word Jesus. I'm going to clear, and notice it says close all panels. So when I come here now, media, if you working on a sermon or something of that nature, and you need some graphics for it, Logos will search your library to see what you have. So I'm trying something at random, Samson. And here are graphics. I can take one of these graphics. Not sure exactly why. Okay, here we go. This graphic here, I can do several things with this. Upload media if you have something on your computer. Here I can change the view. And this is why you need a very fast computer, but I'll go back to the first one that I prefer. Good graphics card. And what I'm going to do, I can print it, I can save as, I can copy, I can send to Faith Life Proclaim, and it will open up Proclaim, which is a software, a presentation software like PowerPoint, and paste this particular graphic into it. Or I could send to PowerPoint. It'll open Microsoft PowerPoint and send the graphics. So I'm going to choose PowerPoint in this case here. And there it is. It automatically loaded it into PowerPoint. Don't save. So that's what media will do for you. And it shows you public domain, the format that you want it. You can choose that. You have several options. How large do you want it? Your notes tool. So this is now looking at notes that I've created over the years. This is something that I have not mastered. I rather just add a note to a particular passage, but Logos has a feature whereby you can have notes in so many different formats based on how you use it. It seems never ending. So I'm going to select a New King James Version. So here I have a note on, let me see. Yes, John chapter 6 and verse 11. And this is my notes about the passage. So as you're reading, you're studying, and something comes into your head, you can add a note to it. And what happens? It goes to all Bible versions. And that's the beauty of it. So it's not tied to any one particular version of the Bible. Search is another feature. Of course, you can pull up the search from here. So you have a Bible search, you have basic media, clause, morphology, syntax. Let's start with Bible search. So I'm going to search, and notice the words all Bible text is in blue and it's underlined. Let's see if we can make this a little larger for you. If it is still too fine, I can increase the size of it. So program scaling, I'll move it to 150, which will be a little easier to see. So now I can move this back to here. So all Bible text is underlined and it's in blue. So I can select it, and I have several options: search fields, solid colors, highlighter, I can now define exactly what I want to search for. We're going to leave it at all Bible text. So I want to search the entire Bible or maybe just the Gospels. These Logos has built several predefined sections, divisions into it, but you can always do your own. So let's just say the Gospels. And I'm looking in the Gospels for where the demon was cast into pigs. So an easy way might just to simply be typing pigs. I get nothing. Let's try swine. Now, if you're not sure of the exact word, ask Logos to search your top Bible. Okay, let's go back to Gospels. So here it is. The New Living Translation puts it as pigs. And this is one good reason to have several versions in your top Bible. So if you can't remember the exact word, I was looking for pigs, which the New King James doesn't have. But had I type swine, it would have pulled it up. So let's stick with let's go to the King James, and King James will find swine in the Gospels. So here's the passage I'm really looking for in Matthew chapter 8, verse 31, where it says, the devil. So if I had typed in swine, devil, and Logos is looking for where the word swine and devil is in one particular verse. That's your search feature, basic search. I'll change it from systematic theologies. Let's just say everything. There's no way to minimize these photos here, unfortunately. 12 fact book entries. I pull it up, and here I have information where I can do further research. Fuzzy Bible search can be pretty good. New King James Version gives me 0 for some reason. But if I were to take out devil and try demon, let's see. New King James Version translates it as demon. So this is one reason when searching, especially with Bible, to use top Bibles and have several varieties in your top Bible. So Logos will be able to find it much easier. And then it looks at for the words in my library. And you can further refine this if you so desire. So when we come back to search, I will take that out. I come here. Okay, use search template. This is what I'm looking for. So they give you, I'm looking for both terms, this and that. So I look for swine, swine, a word phrase, demon, demons, or devil. And I'm going to search. So here we have fuzzy Bible search, demons, devil. So it's looking for the word swine. I don't know why Revelation 12 came up, but probably because I suggested the word devil, it found it. Well, that's fuzzy. It's not too accurate, but just gives you a general idea in case you're not sure in the library. Normally something like that you'd have used Bible for. And once again, Nothing in King James. And this is the reason when I try top Bible search, and I'm still striking out. So let's just try swine and demons. Let's see what we get. Okay, much more accurate this time. And I chose the top Bible search. So it does a better job here. Basic search, if I was looking for something such as, there's a statement in Ellen White where she says F-A-R-T-H-I-N-G, farthing. It's going to pull up a whole lot of information from your library. I hope I'm spelling this right. Let's try health reform. Library downloaded, results of top 10. Okay, it would find it there. And perhaps I'm spelling that word incorrectly. I don't know. So that's basic. Media, again, you're looking at media clause, something that I must confess. So place, Bethlehem of Judah. We run a search. Notice it switched it automatically to the Greek New Testament. And it went through to look for the place, Bethlehem of Judah. Morphology. Again, I hardly use this, but you can. If I was to use, let's try the word truth that they suggested. Love. And see what we get. Okay. So I'm going to make this a little smaller here. And when I come here, truth before love, truth before love, truth and then love. And that's just limiting it to the Johannine epistles or Johannine literature. Syntax. So you refer to the search manual. I'm not going into that one, but that gives you an idea as to what you're looking at. And then we have basic Bible study, expository sermons through a specific task, personal biblical person study. Let's try this one. Enter a name. So we're going to choose David. And you can narrow it down, son of David, but we're looking at the commander. Locate related places. And here it is, Logos is guiding you. Research a person. Locate related Bible verses relating to the life of David. So this is what we're looking at here. Let's close all of these. I've already covered the counseling guide. What I want to show you now, text comparison, and you can see you have them, some other areas down here. Let's magnify content. Charts is something that I'd like for you to see. And it's result of search. So I'm going to do a Bible search. It relates to Bible, where I will look for the word love. Now, notice what happens. It pulls it up, but it also opened my Bible over here. And you can determine what you want to do. Let's look at donut 3D. Ah, there you go. And so it's telling me what is in here. Let's close that. Notice I closed the table of contents, if you want to call it that. So this is much larger. And see it's how often it's found. So let's just limit this to the Gospels. And open another one. Who uses the word love? John uses it most than any of the other gospel writers, 58% of the time. Yes, 58%, 48 times, sorry, which is 58% of the total as found in John. 1-to-1, I can change this. 4:3, how I'm going to view it. That's just another feature. You can choose fit. And I can say show legend, and the legend appears here now at the bottom. Like, want a different view? No problem. Winter, there you go. And so you can customize what happens here, over here from view, or in the, I call it the table of contents. Lollipop, pictorial. Let's choose church, or maybe a heart. These are all features. Person. So it all depends on how you would like to do it. Pi 3D. I close that. So your canvas, working through a passage, I'm not going to use that right now. Guides editor. This is another one that I have not explored, so let's find a biblical word. Guide test. And I want Greek words. And I'm using the Lexham English Bible. Let's try that and see what we get. And I am lost. But as I said, I've not gone into some of these because there are so many. Media, we've covered notes, self-tests. For some of the courses, sentence diagram, sermon builder, prepare a sermon and slides simultaneously. I'll pull up. Let's see if I can pull up one that is already done. So instead of sermon builder, I'll use sermon manager. And something I had started but never really completed using a sermon manager. So all of the information is in here. Weekly grid, it's not going to find much. So let's use the radial grid. Let's expand this. This is showing another one here. Another one here, something that I had started. I prefer to use Word or Microsoft OneNote, so you don't have much in here, but basically it will show you don't know, I'm seeing dates, but I'm not sure when I select some of them. Exactly. December 9, 2020. We haven't arrived there as yet. December 11, 2020. So that pretty much covers it. I'd have to play with this some more and see exactly how you can really take advantage of it, but it's not something that I use very often. And so let's minimize the content, passage, copy Bible verses, Explorer, copy Bible verses. I can copy this and then decide where I want to paste it. A quick rule of thumb, utilize these three dots. I don't know the proper name for them. Global shortcut, Control Alt B, open and close this panel, copy location. If you want to paste on the web, it tells you where to do this. HTML, if you're writing code, post this on a web or on a document, which will in turn open Logos Bible software if the user has it on their computer. Topics@logos.com. So I can copy this to the HTML editor. I can send it to Faith Life Proclaim. Let's use Publisher. So it is basically, they've chosen some of the more popular software that you would probably want to paste something in, because you have LibreOffice, StarOffice, and I do not have either on my computer. So I'm going to choose PowerPoint again. Copy and paste. It opens PowerPoint and paste it in. And notice the format just as you have it over here. Tell it not to save. So that's copy. I love Explorer. So it looks at the passage that you're viewing. So let's go back into our Bible. And what I will do, okay, I'll tell it to follow. So whatever happens in here, it will follow. Or I could just set it to A if I had another Bible open, or B or C. It all depends. So when I come here, it says biblical events. You look to see what is there. The early church in Jerusalem, Ananias and Sapphira. Young men carrying Ananias and Sapphira. Because I made this 150%. You have media, biblical things, your commentaries. Put your mouse over it. Notice again, you get a pop-up, a preview. So I will know, okay, I want to open this particular commentary, or I do not want to open it. So I don't have to open the commentary to see, and the preview comes in very handy. That's your Explorer, passage analysis, Acts 5 and 6. Let's reduce that there. In this case, let's use something like John 4. No, only one. Let's say John 7. Sorry about that. So here we have English Standard, Lexham English, don't remember what the S is for, New King James, today's New International Version. With Jesus going to the feast, let's choose verse 6. Commentaries, open them up there. Cross references. What is there in John chapter 7, verse 6? When we look at, there's something in one of my Bibles, most likely my default, which is New King James, relating to Psalm. I have those turned off. My visual filters, many of them have been turned off. I'll select addressee. Footnote indicators. Okay, so when I come here, there you go. And something is still not missing, is still missing rather. But it just gives you an overview. Nestle Allen omits the word yet. John 3:19, one of my visual filters is still off. I already have, okay, speaker labels. I'll put in timeline events. Community notes, not at this point. So these are notes and highlights that I have. I'll minimize that. Be careful about selecting or creating too many of these because it can really clutter everything up. So here I have my notes. So let's go down one. And I'm still not sure the cross references because I'm not seeing it. The New King James is pretty good with this here. But nevertheless, you will see certain cross references that they're making suggestions that may correspond to John 7 and verse 7. And I have FactBook on, FactBook visual filter. Watch what happens when I select it. It goes off. I select it again. The word is underlined. So if you don't want to see these which words are in FactBook or the visual filter, you can toggle it on and off. That's just another feature. We've already looked at text comparison. Okay, I was looking at passage analysis. Morphology river for John 7, 1-9. Let's get rid of this. Version, cluster, morph river rather. Passage analysis, different ways of looking at the passage. That's basically what we're looking at there. And this here, of course, with morphology, is looking at the Greek text, genitive, accusative. That's what that's all about. So let's now move into reference. You have your atlas, and I love the atlas. So I'm going to find Jerusalem. I want the city of Jerusalem. It pulls up the atlas here. And when I come into my menu, I can send to Faith Life Proclaim, I can send to PowerPoint, I can open Google Maps, and it opens my said browser, which is on the other monitor. So I'll drag it here. And let's see, working with two monitors. I will have to do a new share for you. Here we go. So here now is a map of Jerusalem. Of course, you know, with Google Maps, you can select satellite view and see. You can then zoom in. As I'm doing here, photos are not the best. And that pretty much covers that there. So we're going back to our Bible browser, and you put your mouse over any of them, it gives you an overview. Find Bible passages by applying filters. So let's try it and see. I want people. I'm going to choose Kingdom of Judah. And I'm going to look at a person, and you can keep defining this down. So Israel forsakes the Lord. Let's try any deity. Going to keep narrowing down. So we're going to start over. Clear all. So we choose Israelites. And once we choose the section here, it knows we're interested in finding a person. So Israelites. What about Israelites? I want to find David, using English Standard Version in this case. This is another one that is not easiest to read. So we're looking at David, we're looking at Solomon. And so now we're beginning to see it here. A son. Let's see what happens. Tell me 25 results. A leader. There you go. So based on what I select here, it determines what happens to the voice over here. I take out a leader and I just have a son. And it's finding all the verses here relating to David, Solomon, and a son. And you have here, you here refers to Solomon. Me, in this case, refers to David. These words in the Bible are hands curated by Logos themselves. Someone went in and tagged all of these words to say, me here, this pronoun relates to David. This one here relates to Solomon. And persons ask, well, why is it so expensive at times? This is one of the reasons for it, because this work has to be done by hand. So let's close Bible browser. Bible Sense Lexicon. I'll look at this briefly, but not too versed with the languages, so not gonna spend too much time on it. Let's try stone and see what we get. A rock, a mass, Genesis. These are the lemmas. Relationship. See also fact book. So if I chose the lemmas, lithos, the root, it opened the Bible word study, which I really did not intend for it to do. But nevertheless, that's where it took me. Concordance, you know concordance. From what we've been told, Logos saves the last 10 concordances that you build. And you can build a concordance using any book. Of course, to me, I think it's a waste of time because it's much easier to use the search feature and search a particular, oops, I closed it. I could use basic. Instead of search everything, I would just say desire of ages. And tell Logos to search within desire of ages. T-I-V-I-N-E. And it finds it much faster. The concordance comes in handy when you want to know where every word is used in a particular resource, and you want to see them laid out. So let's go back to our concordance. Okay, I've lost my concordance. Let's close some of these. Here we go. It's still working. And I'm asking it to build a concordance for me of every word in the New King James Version. So what it will do is show me every word that is in this particular Bible and how many times it's found. So just like a typical physical concordance, this is what this is doing here. I seldom use it. Your courses. I'm going to minimize that. And this will show me the various courses that I have access to. So let's try something that I know, M-A-R-R-I-A-G-E, marriage. It says available, counseling for marriage and family. Do this not to transform your marriage. That's an interesting name. Unavailable 12 plans. And I'm taking it. Okay, let's try and understand that feature there. So let's go back to our courses tool. This time I'm going to type Revelation. And so Logos has already started going through my library. It says 4 plans, reading plans on the book of Revelation. Partially unavailable 2 plans, unavailable 7 plans. David D. De Silva. Not sure why these are showing up. Maybe these, okay. The ones that have a lock on it are those that I do not have access to. The ones with the check is something that I would have access to help me in this particular course. This is another one of those features that is built in. Reading lists on topics.logos.com. Opens to the last one. This hasn't been updated in a while. So if I select here, I did this one, Sabbath. It should show you the last person who edited the reading plan. Dictionary of Jesus and the Gospels. Always thought I had this one, but I guess I don't. Then your journals. Don't know. I created it, but someone has updated it since then. And you have all of these here. So it shows who created it, but not necessarily who updated it. That's your reading list, and anyone can see this when you create it. Timeline feature, 1817 to 1851. I'm going to do a filter. Life of Ellen White. I select it. And this is pulling from complete book of when and where in the Bible and throughout history. You can change which one it will pull from based on what you have and what you prioritize in your library. So that's your timeline. Resources from Wikipedia. Of course, we know okay, I didn't quite choose that. So if I choose Ellen White, here. Instead, it goes online. So some features you do need the internet for certain features. And that the topics guide did open up my browser. I can look at it through Logos, or it can open up a browser to topics.logos.com. It's on the other monitor. So I'll close that, close all of those. Oh, I think I closed the concordance before it was finished. Okay, here we go. So here's our concordance. Omit numbers, which you want. Omit common stop words, the, and. You take those out, combine all word forms. So the word Lord is the most common word in the King James Version. Not all, and you see it goes right on down the line. You can do this for any book that you choose, any resource in your library. So those are what's in reference. Your lookup, cited by, information, power lookup, pronunciation search. Let's use cited by. So Revelation chapter 22 and verse 1, all open and tick, all open resources, academic Old Testament commentaries. I had my commentaries group according to several different categories. Apocrypha, Studiographer, all looking for Revelation 22 and verse 10. And these are collections that are actually in my library, if I remember correctly. Yes, these are collections that I've created. Avoid creating a lot of collections, because what happens is it can slow down your library when it starts up. And you see it's preparing library because I have so many different collections. So here's a collection I created, Ellen White. So the advantage of collections is if I'm searching, I don't want to do a basic search in everything. I may just choose a collection. So I could say denomination. What do I have in my denomination? These are user created, by the way, in, let's say, Anglican. And I search for Sabbath. Sorry. Okay, there you go. And so it knows which books are from the Anglican Church, if you please, and it's looking up to see what they have on the topic of the Sabbath. So you can define your search and just search a very small subsection of books, especially if you're having trouble finding exactly what you're looking for. And we're going to stop there for today and pick up at another time. I trust you'll find this quite handy. It's something that you can use for in the future. I'll be repeating this stream again at 6:30, where I'll do another